Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe for Chinese. Let's continue discovering something else that looks kind of like a no, but with a little bit simpler strokes. Simply this cover and then two strokes like that. And by itself, without the word symbol on here, it's pronounced as yin. I don't use it in my everyday language. This is something that's no longer being used on its own, and instead it's made into other kind of a supporting role to create another story. So yin by itself looks like this. 2,000 years ago, Xushen Dictionary give you this imagery. And I remember I've seen this image quite a bit. There are at least two readings, two guesses. Like we don't exactly know how the logic, the thinking back then when this character was created. What we know is this middle part, it's kind of like H, curvious H English letter looking thing is kind of a person. And then this one horizontal line with two bookends like that. There are two readings. One is a few weeks ago, we talked about a zhěn. Zhěn means faraway land. So ancient times, there were this, I guess, from the density of population perspective, that we have town centers, we have suburbs, we have farm fields, we have faraway land, we have forest before faraway land. So faraway land is kind of only explorers, kind of hardcore explorers, adventurers go, venture into. They gotta have good survival skills in the wilderness. So it's kind of the edge of our existence, kind of geographically the edge. So it's kind of at the edge of civilization. You can hardly see anybody there. So that's one version of that. Zhěn means at faraway place. The second understanding of that is it simply is an ideograph showing, Chinese we call it a bian. So it's a thing to carry. It's kind of a long stick carry on your shoulder. And then you have two weights on each side, right? So I guess ancient times when people, the average people cannot afford horses or other transportation methods when you say move home, or like you have a famine, you have to carry all your personal stuff and move on foot to some faraway place. When you carry your stuff, every belongings of yours in that two buckets on each end of this stick. So you hold it kind of balanced. That way it's the least amount of effort. You don't have to kind of constantly contract your muscles to hold things up here. It just balanced on your shoulder. So this describes that. And when we place a person imagery in the middle of that, again, two readings. One is this describes a person walking in a far away place. It's so far that your eyes can not tell if that person is actually moving or not. Even if you may visually see that person is moving the legs, but because it's too far, the progress in your retina, I guess, the further the person is, the more ground a person needs to cover to move a significant amount in your eyes, right? That's how, I guess, vision works, optical illusion. So this describes like a person walking in a faraway place. You can hardly tell that person is walking, but that's a faraway person walking, okay? The second reading is, okay, that's a person carries some load, is holding something on the shoulders, with that device. And I kind of leaning into that second theory of this person carrying some heavy load. And Okay, together you may see, okay, together with the wood symbol, the wood we talked about many times, right? Canopy of the tree, root of the tree, connected by the trunk. So a very simple structure of the tree, of the whole tree, not just the visible portion of the tree, the canopy with the trunk, but Chinese describe the root as well. That we have the tree next to this person carrying heavy load. How come it becomes pillow? Well, it turned out ancient times the pillow was a different form factor as today's cushioning, like a soft. Like today, when we think about a pillow, we're thinking about a squishy, soft, cushioning thing, right? You can lean on, it's comfortable. Well, sometimes it may not be. But ancient times, Chinese made pillow out of wood. And sometimes porcelain. So it's just kind of a stiff surface that you lay your head on whole night. Picture that. Okay. I guess ancient Chinese, they didn't, I don't know, probably people try different ways and find that's the most ergonomic, like best for your health kind of thing. Enough generations of like human trials to figure out what's the best kind of pillow. Anyhow, no further speculation. Ancient form factor different. It's made of wood, and then carry heavy load carrying is simply here is kind of describing when you carry is kind of close to your shoulder and your neck, and it's a heavy load like your skull, your brain, this big meatball on the top of your spine is a pretty heavy thing. And the wood structure is the thing to carry that load. So instead of humans carrying load, here is the wood. The pillow is carrying the load of our head. Okay, so we have a few examples. 枕头 here simply means this pillow is not prompt engineering stuff. Okay, it's propping up your head. So 头 means head. So pillow your head is, I guess, a Chinese description of what the function of the pillow is, putting your head on that. So 枕头 is Chinese definition of pillow. We simply translate pillow as 枕头. Because 枕 by itself can be so many different things. So we have to pair it with something else to fix it onto a relatively non-mobile or fixed meaning thing. So 枕头 describes this device and also the function to hold your head. And that's the definition of 枕头. Okay, 落枕. This 落 is a change of pronunciation only when it's paired with 枕. Probably because it started with dialect. When I grew up, I heard 落枕 all the time. So I'm not sure if it's Northern Chinese. So it described the experience when you have a night's sleep and the next day your neck is kind of out of its place. And when you stretch, your neck pains. So that's how Chinese describe it, as if you fall from your pillow and causing your neck pain. So 落枕 means you're fallen. And yeah, that's the only time when this 落, otherwise it's 落 means falling, paired with pillow, falling from the pillow. Then it becomes 落枕. Okay, 枕戈带蛋. 枕. So you put your head as a pillow on 戈, this weaponry, ancient weaponry, daggered spear is what I heard. I've never seen it, but it's a lot of pointy edges you can see here, right? So 枕戈, well, I'm not sure exactly how you can sleep with onto your weaponry. That doesn't seem comfortable or safe. I definitely would not sleep next to a knife or something, right? So, but this describes the military lifestyle, that you want to be so ready that you're going to sleep on your weapon. And when the enemy, if they ambush you, you have it right next to you. Okay, I guess that's the idea. 待旦, wait until that sunrise. Here we have sun, horizon. So meaning you just sleep on guard with, so instead of put a gun like in some movies, right, under your pillow, here you're just pillowing. Well, now thinking about it, probably it's a type of a sleeping condition, not a sleeping directly on that weapon, on that hard surface, but probably with sort of cushioning. But 整个 definitely describes how the proximity of your weaponry to you, as if it's right next to your pillow, under a pillow. 整个带弹. Okay, so here is a contrast of today's, I guess, globalized and standardized, commercialized pillow, how it looks. Puffy, fluffy, soft, versus the ancient Chinese version, quite decorative, wood-made, lacquered with dragons and birds. This is 喜鹊, magpies, that's spreading good news. So it's almost like you have this imagery next to your brain, as if nighttime, in nighttime you're going to dream some good news, right? And be as free-flowing, free-forming, free-willing as dragons. And then apparently you store some personal precious things inside this box that it got little lock in there. So this is I remember when I grew up, when the older generation kind of phasing out, I only saw once in real life of something like that. Not as decorative, not as delicate, but something like I couldn't figure out like what that is. And I remember my shock, like what? Like people sleep on this? Use that as pillow? That was a shock. So that was already in the past. And somehow online, this thing sold $22 if you're interested. Okay,